What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Big Cam, and today we are back with another Comically Boston here on another Monday. Normally, I have my weekly nerdy newses come out on Monday, but don't worry, that video will be coming out tomorrow discussing all of last week in the news around nerdy stuff, Hollywood, all that type of jazz. But I had to talk about Penguin Episode 3, Bliss, right now because it was a great episode, and I will be breaking down all of the juicy little details and things that was going on in this episode and where this might be going next. But coming off of last week, Oz and Sophia are teaming up. I love this poster. Kristen Milioti as Sophia Falcone has been phenomenal, so they threw her ass on a poster. I love this. I love how Oz looks, and the Colin Ferrell underneath that makeup just looks so goddamn good. And Sophia's outfits are phenomenal. Even Oz's outfits, like the suits and shit he's been wearing, I'm like, damn, he's so stylish. But coming off of last week, one of my favorite lines I heard was this.
Jesus, Vic, I said no cilantro. It's fucking everywhere.
Shit, I'm sorry.
Might as well shove a bar of goddamn soap in my mouth.
Jesus, Vic, I said no cilantro, right? Like, Oz complaining about food. There's so many Oz lines like that Colin Ferrell just delivers so perfect. Like, the dialogue in the show tickles me to my soul. Like, I love hearing it. But at the end of the last episode, we see Oz and Sophia about to team up. And I am here for all of this episode and the team up between the two of them and them working together for a change. And Sophia asked him to team up, and Oz said, let's dance. But at the same time, we got Oz and the Falcones kind of breathing down his neck, and also the Maronis, because Oz has been playing both sides. So I have a real big feeling that this is all going to blow up in Oz's face sooner rather than later. But we see Vic stepping on a real change poster, but it's spelled real with a chicka over that A for Bella Real mayoral elect candidate. And we find out that this is starting as a flashback episode. And this is the story of what happened to Victor and where he was during the events of the Batman. And, you know, catching us up to the point where we meet Victor in that alleyway stealing Oz's rims. And now, you know, everything from there forward, we know what happened to Victor, but this is the little flashback for Vic. So kind of a Vic central episode, which I don't mind because Victor has really been the heart and soul of this Penguin series, and he's one of my favorite characters on here, and Renzi has been phenomenal. And Vic is Dominican, so I've heard rumors going around that he wants to be maybe like Miles Morales, and if they do it sooner rather than later, right, because a couple of the people that they wanted to be Miles Morales have now aged out of the range that we wanted him to be at, right? Like, and now they're grown men. Like, if we want to do a grown man Miles Morales, sure, but I feel like they should be mid-teens, you know, maybe heading towards 20s, but not quite like 20-something, where Renzi here, the guy that's playing Vic, I want to say he's maybe older than 20, maybe 22, 23, something like that. But we see that Vic is late to see his girlfriend, and they're very cute together. And he said, I'll meet you over there. I got some stuff I got to drop off first, some parts for his father. And his father is a mechanic. And we meet his family at his little home in Crown Point and down in Gotham, and a not-so-nice part of Gotham. And his family is half Mexican and half Dominican. Vic tells his father that the guy he sells his parts to should be paying him more for specialty parts, and that the guy's ripping him off. But Vic wants to go meet his girlfriend and friends to watch fireworks. And his father warns him about his friend Calvin and being involved with the wrong people. And his friend Calvin is involved with a dealer named Squid, which, I mean, if your dealer's name is Squid, you got problems already, you know what I mean? But Calvin is that same kid that got shot at with Vic stealing the rims. And he's also that kid that Sophia had stolen when Oz got stripped naked, and Oz is like, you can't believe this kid over me, and she shouts the kid. I believe that's Calvin, Victor's friend, but also moron friend. And Vic's girlfriend hates Squid, so Vic and her goes talk over on the side, and we find out that this is the night that Riddler blew everything to pieces. And I have the shot here of what it looks like, and this honestly looks phenomenal, to the point where the first time around I didn't even think twice about how it looked like CGI wise. So just, you know, the first time around, if you see it and you don't even think about if it's CGI or not, you're just watching this, it's phenomenally, like, so well done, especially for like a TV show. Like, come on. And I don't know if maybe this is some follow-over visual effects from like the Batman, so it wasn't that hard to recreate it for this. But still, you know, this is a completely different scene shot with Vic here. You know, so it looks phenomenal. But let's play the clip.
Those bombs?
God, they're everywhere.
Damn, the clip cuts off a little bit at the end, but we see the bombs start to go off, and they think it's about to be fireworks, and all of a sudden they're like, is that bombs? And they see it across the city, and then all of a sudden one goes off right near them, and we see at the end of that clip that the water starts to rush in, and it knocks over a bridge, so this is a lot of water coming in here, and, you know, Vic's up the street, but he's on a building top, so he's not, you know, necessarily going to get caught up in the flooding, but he can see down the street where his house is, and his mother and sister and father all in their house, and the waves are coming towards him. He calling his mom doesn't answer, and the water just gets hit. So he pretty much watches his mother and father and family die, and that whole building get wiped out by this flooding, and Crown Point clearly got hit hard right by the seawall. So it's a tough scene to see. We see Vic lose his family, right? And Vic watches himself lose his family. But we cross-cut from the title card, Penguin, and it's on Vic's face, and he's looking out the window at Oz's house, and Oz goes, "You're getting forehead grease on my window." But Vic and Oz then talk about how Oz is out working with Sophia. He's like, "Are we partners now?" And he goes, "Temporarily." Oz thinks Luca will eventually take care of Sophia, and there's dozens of falcons breathing down his neck. He's like, "Yeah, one of these guineas fucking came all over the boot, and now there's 3 dozen falcons breathing down my neck." So there's just a bunch of falcons. So these falcons are mass producing, you know what I mean? But Oz tells Vic that he will be the driver for the evening for him and Sophia. Also goes, "Hey, I forgot to discuss with you what you're going to be getting paid." And he goes, why don't we start you off with $1,000 a week? But from now on, if you need something, ask for it. How's anyone supposed to know what you're worth if you won't tell them? And Vic goes, "I want $2,000. He goes, "Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But no, not right now." You know, so eventually maybe Vic will get $2,000 a week. But as of right now, Vic's getting $1,000 a week, which is way more money than any type of kid like him has seen. Like in the first episode, he goes, "You got $1 in your wallet, kid. Can you afford to think that small?" You know, like Oz sees himself in this kid, and he wants to help him, and he really does like Vic. And he sees something in him more than Vic can see in himself. But he's also, you know, a gangster doing bad things. And Vic, you know, found himself stuck with this guy. And now all of a sudden he's like, "I don't know why Oz likes me so much." But right as soon as Sophia's about to show up, Oz gets a call from Blackgates. And it's fucking Sal Maroni. And Vic's scared to be alone with the hangman. He's like, "She's the fucking hangman." And he's like, "She's a pussycat. Don't worry about it. Buy me some time." She comes in, starts questioning him a little bit. And she's like, "All right, how'd you end up with him? You're his driver, huh? Yeah, you're a mechanic, but you can't work a lighter?" And he goes, "I think it's broken." She freaking, you know, like, it's funny as hell. She just makes it work immediately. But Sophia tells Vic that Oz was her former driver. Now, he had told us a story about a guy named Pinchy being his driver, but maybe sometime after this he became Sophia's driver and just happened to leave that part of the story out of it. So Sophia says, "Oz, you're driving, just like old times." So Oz tells Vic to stay put and do anything stupid, I'll sense it. So Vic, immediately as they leave, he calls his girlfriend Grazielle? I think I butchered that name. But either way, that's why I keep saying his girlfriend. So he calls his girlfriend, but then we cut back to Oz and Sophia going to find out where the drugs are, and Oz like opens the door for her. Always a gentleman, Oz. And we find out that the drugs that she's getting are coming from Arkham. And she goes, "Hey, coming from Arkham, I thought this was Al's big idea." And she goes, "I know you did." Right? So she's kind of playing him, you know, kind of still knows that he's not telling her the whole truth. She can't trust him, you know, so she's playing it safe when it comes to Oz. But we meet her chemist named Trey Bloom, and the drugs are coming from mushrooms. And he goes, I don't know, you've been gone a long time, anyone can get shrooms in Gotham. And she goes, no, this is a bleeding teeth fungi, and they're extracting the pores, and the pores are made into like this crystal, and these crystals are the new drops or new drug that are supposed to be highly potent or whatever. So Sophia goes, find me a distributor, Oz, and we'll paint the town red. Also kind of, you know, double case scenario because the drug is red. So let's paint the town red. Let's sell the drug all over the place. Come on, let's go. So Vic invites his girlfriend over to Oz's place, and they sit there and have drinks, and he ordered pizza for her, and he's like, we're gonna have a great evening. But then he finds out that she is leaving the next day to go to California because their families are dead and she's got nothing here, our school's underwater, and she goes, I don't want to live in an internment camp or whatever anymore. So she's getting on a bus and going to California. She's getting the heck out of Dodge, and I don't blame her. But she asks him to come with her, and he says, I don't know if Oz will let me leave. He kind of likes having me around. And then all of a sudden he gets a text. He's like, Oz is coming back, so you gotta go. And he wants her to leave. He hands her some cash. He goes, buy me a ticket too. He goes, stay in a nice place, you know, like, I'm coming with you though. And Vic, I think, really does want to come with her, but let's see what happens later on in the episode. We cut to Sophia getting back to the Falcone Combine, and there's a bunch of cars parked outside, and all the Falcones are laying low all together at this mansion, and there's tons of security and shit. And Vidi's a real prick to Sophia. And he says he ain't scared of her, and that all he sees is a spoiled little brat, and gives her a plane ticket to Italy. And he goes, when the boss of the family tells you to go to Italy, you go to fucking Italy. She goes, I gotta handle some things first. And he goes, 2 days. 2 days and you're gone, or that's what I tell people where you went. So Vidi's a real fucking prick. I really don't like Vidi, but I do like the actor and how much of an asshole he's being. You know, like he's playing that character to a T. He's like, oh yeah, I know how to play this guy. He's a dick. You know, like. So Oz and Sophia the next day go to Chinatown to meet the Triads. They walk in and they're like, listen, don't you remember the Falcones pushed the Triads out of Gotham, and now they're like stuck into only Chinatown territory, and Carmine had taken over everything from them? And he goes, yeah, I was there. He goes, but it's better to ask forgiveness than, you know, than permission sometimes. So he shows up, he brings booze as like a gift to like kind of schmooze him over a little bit. And and they're not meeting the head of the Triads, they're meeting like their underboss. So kind of, they're not meeting Luca, they're meeting Vidi, the underboss of the family type of thing. And they show the guy the new drugs, and Oz goes, we're calling it BLISS. And she kind of looks at him, and I'm like, is this improvised in the moment, or were they discussing this before what to call it? Either way, Oz decides to name the drug BLISS, and that's the title of the episode. So we find out what BLISS means. This is the new drug that they're pushing. Vic is out in the car waiting for them while they're inside talking to the Triads, and he's in Oz's car, and a cop pulls up and takes him out of the car and starts like searching him and shit, and goes, you were idling in a loading zone, get out. And there's a bag on the passenger seat filled with shit. So Vic's like, oh fuck, this cop cannot search the car. You know, he might be searching me and shit, but he cannot search the car. And a cop finds that $1,000 that he's making per week in Vic's pocket. He goes, there's a lot of money for a kid your age. And he goes, I don't know what you're talking about, officer. I don't have any money. And he goes, I guess not. When your boss gets back, get the fuck out of here. So dirty ass cop. I was like, oh, I hate little pigs like that. Arr. But Sophia and Oz go back and forth kind of team lying to this guy, and how they're working together as they do it is so beautiful. But Oz's big mouth ties in Vidi. They have Vidi on board, and they go, oh, the underboss of the Falcone family. Oh, really? Well, why don't you have him call the Dilo directly, unless your big mouth is cashing checks he can't deliver on anymore? And he goes, my word is good. You know, so now fucking Oz talks himself in a corner where now he's got to get Vidi to call on Sophia and Oz's behalf, and he's got to call the Dilo, the head of the Triad, on behalf of them for this, to get this new drug going, which is crazy. So this kind of works because, you know, but they still need to go get Vidi. So Sophia's like, what aren't you telling me about Vidi? Oz goes, oh, there it is. Look at you. You were having fun. I could tell. All right, hold on. I got a plan, but you're going to have to trust me. And Sophia's not happy about it, but she's got no other options at the current moment. So Oz and Vic get lunch at this restaurant, very fancy place. Definitely a place that Vic hasn't really been to most of his life, you know what I mean? The server comes over and Oz orders real quick and goes, Vic, and Vic starts to stutter because he's nervous. It's a fancy restaurant. This guy's now put the pressure on him. It's his turn, right? Like, I get like that too. Normally, instead of stuttering or like, you know, looking at the menu, I just go, I'll have what he had, you know, and just fucking make it quick. I don't even know what he ordered. I do that a lot. I'm that type of guy, you know, they're out to dinner and they're fucking, sir, what would you like? What did you get? Yeah, I don't care. Whatever he got, make it too. And then it comes out and I'm like, what did we order? You know, like, and I blame them for whatever we had. But Oz tells the server to fuck off because as Vic's stuttering, the server tries to finish a sentence for him and he goes, hey, don't do that. Let him finish. The man's trying to speak here. So Vic stutters and ends up finishing his, yeah, I'll have the steak frites, please. Thank you. Thank you. The guy leaves and he goes, yes, sir. And Oz is like, oh, yes, sir. Guy's trying to save his tip. And Vic's like, you don't have to do that. And he goes, yeah, I don't. But you should. He goes, fuck them, make them wait, take up space. You know, like, I like the way he said it, though. He was like, listen, fuck them. You gotta stutter, who cares? Take up space, make them wait. Take up space, right? Like, put your shoulders back, take up space, right? Like, that's what you should be doing. That's called confidence. Even if you ain't got it, present like you do. Shoulders back, what the fuck is good, you know what I mean? You know? Then Oz asks about his parents. What is your mom and dad, or what did they do? Because we know that they're dead. His mom was working with some type of financial aid or something like that, some hospital aid, some type of thing like that. I have to go back and it was a quick scene, but I was like more focused on what he said about his dad. And he goes, my dad was a mechanic, but at his heart, he was really a chef. And he names all these things that, you know, are cultural meals that he would get from his dad. And Oz is like, oh yeah, that sounds delicious. That sounds great. And he goes, it's a fucking shame your dad could never come to a restaurant like this. You know, being a mechanic, that's the American dream. He should be able to make a great living, but instead, you know, you shouldn't die with nothing. So Oz toasts to Vic's father and goes, to your father for raising a good son. And that was kind of a sweet moment. But then we realized that this whole meal was just Oz waiting to blackmail Luca's wife, Tina. And Tina's friend gets up to go to the bathroom, so Oz walks over and goes, Tina, I need a favor. This one's gonna sting a bit. And then it cuts off before Oz can say what he's about to say to her. And he's probably about to say like, hey, listen, I know you're sleeping with Vidi, and I'm not gonna tell Luca about it, but you're gonna have to help us out a bit. And we know this because the next scene is Sophia and Oz walking in on Vidi fucking Tina. And they walk in and Tina's like, and Sophia's like, Tina, get out. Tina, don't forget your panties, you know, like she leaves them on the ground. She runs out. I'm like, oh, poor Tina. But also fucking slutbag Tina. Ugh. But Vidi makes a crucial mistake. Like, he's got any power in this situation. And he just got caught fucking the boss's wife. Vidi could clearly get whacked for something like sleeping with the boss's wife. Like, come on, Vidi's in trouble right here. He ain't got nothing, no type of leverage here. But Vidi gets personal with Oz. And he goes, yeah, sure, you're fun in a card game, but people don't keep you around because they think you're smart. They sure as shit don't trust you. No, they keep the penguin around as entertainment because they know you're a joke. And Oz jumps on him and shoves the phone in his mouth, and you hear the phone start to crack as he's like pushing his molars back into his friggin' skull with the cell phone. Like, poor Vidi, but I was also like, damn, Oz is a psychopath. And then he gets off of him, fucking slicks his hair back and goes, make the fucking call. But we know, they cut away from it, but we know Vidi makes this call because then we cut to the club, 44 Below, at the Iceberg Lounge, or whatever it's actually called, but 44 Below is the club within the club, I don't know. And Eve and her girls. So Eve is the woman that Oz is really together with, and all the other girls are going to be the sellers of Bliss in the nightclub. And Vic will be the bag man. He'll be the one you give the cash to if you need more drugs. Come to Vic. So Oz gives Vic a little pep talk and goes, listen, all right, you know, that you got what they want, not the other way around. Shoulders back, take up space. I wouldn't have asked you to do this if I didn't think you could handle it. I believe in you, kid. So Oz is like, really does love this kid. And for what reason, I don't know. Maybe he sees like a son in him or a younger brother, or like just sees himself as a younger kid. But he does really want to take care of Vic in this messed up business, you know what I mean? Sophia goes, inspiring speech. And I love the shots in this of the club and just like them talking in white suit and her black outfit's so hot, and she's like talking to him and he's like, listen, we're gonna be untouchable after this. And Sophia goes, I can't tell who wants this more, me or you. And Oz goes, I want this for you. Sophia goes, You always say the right things, Oz. Which is like, you got to be a little bit more careful how right you say things, right? Like, you can't just be giving her everything she wants, because then she's going to be more suspicious. But she brings up what Oz did to her and why she was Arkham. We don't know what this is, but and she asks, was it worth it what he did to her? And he goes, oh Jesus, it's been 10 years. She goes, I know how long it's fucking been. You don't need to tell me. But then Sophia says Zhao is here to talk to her, not her former driver. Remember that. So now, listen, we've seen what happens when you get personal with Oz. Sophia, watch the fuck out. I know he can overpower you. You might be able to fucking outrun him, but he's definitely not the type of guy you want to fuck around with. Like, he already shot your brother for laughing at him. He'll shoot you too. Like, and she's the hangman, so we don't know how vicious she is, but we also don't know what exactly he did to fuck her over. But we see the girls in the club are selling out fast, and Vic's getting them more stuff. And then we cut to the meeting with the head of the Triad, Zhao, and he brings up the history between the Falcons and the Triads. And then we cut to Vic getting text from his girlfriend and saying like, hey, the bus is gonna leave soon, are you on your way? And then Roxy, right, like, so he's got his girlfriend from the before life, and then he's got Roxy, that Cam girl that he was kind of flirting with at the party a couple nights ago, where he accidentally cilantroed Oz's tacos. But the lights come on and she goes, oh, the show's about to start. And we see that Vic is kind of gets PTSD from these lights and kind of like sees the bombs again. Starts to have PTSD and remember the night of the flood. And he's like on the ground and he's like kind of, losing it, having an anxiety attack. And then Roxy snaps him out of it, picks up the drugs with him and goes, keep it together. And he goes, yeah. And then he goes to the bathroom. Sophia and Zhao talk, so Zhao's a little nervous about her being like out of Arkham and shit. She goes, whatever, I don't give a fuck who sells my shit, I don't need you. Like, and she's kind of getting upset because people only see her as the hangman and fear her. And she's like, listen, I'm not the fucking hangman, I'm the hangwoman, like, I don't know. We still don't really know the full extent of what Sophia has done, and we really don't know what Oz has done. We don't know if we should fear her or if it's just like a story, you know what I mean? But she goes, I don't care who sells my product. It could be anyone. If it wants to be you, whatever. And then she goes to Oz, finish the deal. I'll be downstairs. Oz finishes the deal off screen, and then he goes to talk to Vic in the bathroom, who's calming down in the bathroom, and he's kind of losing it. But he gets a text saying the bus is leaving soon. And Oz says, the Triads are in. We still got to play it safe with the Maronies on my ass. But he goes, Vic, you're the bag man, right? He starts to hype him up, and then hears big phone buzz, and this is not good, right? And he goes, are you leaving? And this really upsets Oz that he's like about to leave him, you know what I mean? This scene in the bathrooms too is beautiful because it's like just a bathroom, but the red lights, he's got this white suit with the maroon, and he's talking to Vic and shit, and it's like, it gets intense, but it gets like, you could see that Oz is like sad, he's like upset that Vic's about to leave him, and he's like, listen, why, you think you're my prisoner or something? You could have left at any time. And then he pulls out a gun. He goes, is this what it feels like to be with me? He pointed to his head. He goes, this is what you felt like the whole time, huh? This is what you felt like being around me? He goes, you could have left at any time, like. And he's like, you know what's shameful? Dying without nothing to show for it. And, kind of talking about his parents. And he goes, fuck you. And he goes, fuck me? Fuck the world. It doesn't care about you or your family. And Oz is pretty much saying like, hey, I care about you, motherfucker. Have I not showed you that? Like, I've given you money, I've given you a place to stay. Like, he goes, you want to leave? Leave, fucking leave then. And so Vic leaves, and he takes Oz's car. He's got the keys in his pocket, and he goes, you know what, fuck him. I'm getting in his car and leaving. So Oz is pissed, drinks alone instead of celebrating like he wanted to with Vic. Vic makes it in time over to the bus station, and he's in Oz's car, and he just watches as his girlfriend gets on the bus and leaves, and he's like, oh, man, I could have had that life with her that I wanted and dreamt of for years, but I've never had money or power or respect, like, I could go be someone else and not be in this business, but now he's, in the business, and he, doesn't get on the bus, so he fully chooses, I'm gonna be with you, Oz, And this is not good, but this is not a great decision by Vic, but it's also, like, kind of what I wanted to happen. I didn't want Vic to leave. I want him to be Oz's right-hand man. But Oz goes outside to talk to Sophia, having a cigarette, and that same lighter that Vic couldn't light earlier, he lights a cigarette for her, and they talk again outside. And it's a great scene because it kind of calls back to what they were talking about earlier, and how, if it was worth it for Oz to have fucked her over. Now Oz has been having some drinks, and he goes, "We did it, we should be celebrating." And then he goes, "Jesus, all right, I fucked you over. Is that what you want to hear?" And she goes, "Don't tell me that's your attempt at an apology." And then she's like, "You probably ratted me out." And he goes, "I ain't no rat." You know, like, which is what we heard in the Batman movie. And she goes, "You're not even a made man." And earlier she asked if it was worth it, if he fucked her over. And he goes, "Yeah, it was worth it. A guy like me got the drops business in the club, you know. I'm not a made man, but for a guy like me, it might not have meant nothing to you, but it meant a whole lot to me." And he goes, "But fuck, I'm sorry. For everything that happened to you, I'm truly sorry. You know, you meant something to me, and you still do," right? But you can't really tell if he's sincere, if he's lying to her again. And Sophia goes, "I don't know where to go from here. I don't know how to trust you, Oz." And then he lights the cigarette for her, and he goes, "How about I keep showing you how to trust me?" You know, and like, as soon as, like, you know, it's about to turn good, fuck, shit, not off to a good start for him being able to show her how he could be trusted, because the Maronis pull up, and it's the Maroni's wife, and she's like, "Oz, you think you can play us? We've been watching you, motherfucker." And Vic's in Oz's car, and he's about to start pulling back up to the club, and he sees that the Maronis got Oz and Sophia on their knees at gunpoint, and he decided to act, and he drives the Maserati, Oz's car, into the back of another car, hitting one of the Maroni's men. I don't know if he died, but it was a decent enough impact that the airbag went off. Vic's nose starts bleeding. He's got a cut on his head. Oz jumps in the car. "We gotta go, kid." And he goes, "What about Sophia? Fuck it, leave her." And I'm like, damn, why would you leave her? You just got her back on the good side. But we also don't know what happened in between Vic pulling up and like how they got onto their knees at gunpoint, you know, like, ooh. Not the best. Oz is all excited now in the passenger seat as Vic drives away in his now fucked up Maserati again, right? The whole front end's fucked up now. Dragging on the ground, they're driving away. And he goes, "I knew you'd come back, kid, I knew it. This is fucking some balls." And then he goes, "Jesus, we're in it now, Vic, we're in it now." And then it focuses in on Vic's face bleeding as he's driving away, and he's like, you know, pissed, but he's sad, but he's also like, you know, in the moment, so he's like got that adrenaline, the anxiety going. And this is now the life Vic's chosen, you know, and he's like, it focuses in on his face as this is now the life. He's in it with Oz, and he's not going on a bus, you know, he's not leaving like he said. He goes, "I knew you'd be back, kid, I knew it." And then the credits roll, and it says, and the song title is called "Me and the Devil" by Gil Scott-Heron, which is one of my favorite songs. Me and the devil walking side by side. You know, like it is a banger of a song, especially if you are someone that has the devil and you have sold your soul to the devil. Perfect song for you. The teaser for next week looks absolutely insane. It's going to be maybe a Sophia flashback episode because we see a young Carmine played by Mark Strong, I believe is his name. It's not going to be John Turturro again because he had scheduling conflicts, which also then makes me wonder, what is John Turturro making right now? But we see her like kind of smiling in that like booth where she's like in that questioning booth in Arkham, and she's like, "I need help," and then it cuts away from her. I'm like, damn, dude, that's some fucked up shit. But as far as what we know from that last episode, Oz was supposed to get the Maroni's guy back, right? And he ends up killing Arbad or whatever his name was. And so that's probably why the Maronis pull up at the end, like, "We've been watching you, motherfucker. You think you could double cross us?" Like, and so, but this at the same time as, you know, getting questioned by the Maronis, he had just set up this new thing with the Triads and Sophia. And now this blows his cover to Sophia that he has been talking to the Maronis as well as the Falcons. Now, Sophia might care, she might not, but Oz just got her on her knees getting a gun pointed at her head, so she might not be too thankful for that. But, you know, after Vic crashes in, we don't know what happens, right? So is Sophia still there with the Lady Maroni at gunpoint? You know, like what happens after that crash? We just see them drive away. I'm still trying to figure out what happens in between there. Like, is Sophia gonna be pissed at Oz? So now this whole thing that they just set up together isn't gonna work? If so, is Sophia going to be able to run the drops business without him? I don't think so. So maybe Oz will run it without her, but they kind of need each other. So maybe it will be one of those situations where it's like, listen, I hate you, you hate me, but we need each other. So let's keep working for business so we can make money, right? Like, I don't know, but comment below your thoughts on this episode 3. Did you like seeing Vic's descent into the darkness, into the underbelly of society with Oz here, into the criminal empire that is Oz Cobb? Ugh. But I will say my favorite part of the episode was that one scene with Sophia and Oz, and they're going back and forth team lying to the underboss of the triads. Such a good scene. And then her outfit later in the episode where she's talking to the Zhao, the leader of the head boss of the triads. Oh, Kristen Milioti. So goddamn gorgeous, but also terrifying, right? You're equal parts like, I think she could murder me, but why does she look so sexy, right? Like, I don't know. Oz at the same time, right? Like, he's this hideous, disfigured, overweight guy, but every time I look at him, I'm like, man, he's got some moxie. And then every line that comes out of his mouth is so funny and so perfect, but then he's got like serious parts where you're like, damn, he's delivering this too. Like, Colin Ferrell is putting on a master class in what it's like to put on practical effects and create a character. You know what I mean? Like, tip my hats to the writers, the directors, to the producers, to the costume department, to the makeup guy, Colin Ferrell, Kristen Milioti, Renzi playing Vic. All of them are bangers, and I've really been enjoying the show. So comment below all your thoughts on The Penguin through episode 3. Episode 4 next week. I cannot wait. So stay tuned for another episode breakdown coming next week. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, Comically Boston's Weekly Nerdy News will be coming out tomorrow. Agatha All Along episode 5 breakdown will be coming out Thursday, so stay tuned for that. Movie reviews in between. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. If you made it this far in the video and you want to support me further, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, hit that bell so you don't miss future videos. Follow my other social medias down, the links down in the description below, my Letterboxd, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, all of the information's down in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you beautiful people in the next video. Peace!